All right, hello there. And I guess happy 100th birthday? 100th anniversary of independence to Finland. That is amazing. Um, cool. Hey everybody, I am Joshua. This is not a Finland stream. This is a stream that I do over my lunch hour that is typically game development adjacent, or if not directly game development itself. Lately, I have been working on a set of tools to allow you to make maps in Quake from a 2D tile map, and that's kind of what I've been working on. Um, Let me make my face small, and let's go to something a little bit more interesting to you folks who are watching. There we go. Yeah, so yesterday I had stopped. I had begun working on getting transformations for the tiles working. And what that is so I guess if you don't know what my tool is, I'll give you a high level overview and then we'll kind of dive into it. So right now I am firing up tiled, however you want to pronounce it. It is a generic 2D tile map editor with lots of great features. And I am using that to craft the 2D maps. And then I extract out the data, and then I am mapping the 2D tiles to 3D tiles, and I am building a Quake map out of that. Here we go. Yeah, so this is what the map layout looks like. So I have a tile layer. So this is the actual like geometry of the level, and I can really quick we can change it because that's the beauty of the tile map. So we can just add maybe another connection here. We can just kind of prototype out. I go here, and the stamp tool is right click to select that tile, and we can kind of paint out this new connection. And then let's add in just these new tiles here, like this, like that. It's a little fiddly because of the way I've set up the these kind of half width tiles, but it's not so bad. They could add some cool support pillars because I like spiky things are cool. Let's do that and do that. Slam that there. And then there's not a lot of. Let's go ahead and let's see. This wall blocking thing is kind of cool, so you don't see all the way down there. So maybe I can make some sort of little feature, maybe like this and like that. Just kind of get these little corner pieces, make them work. There we go. Maybe turn back on these. This layer here, we can see I have some the grunts, or the, as they're called, monster underscore armies, kind of hidden back behind this bit. And maybe that's good. So I can hit save, and then I can run my script. And then we go into Trench Broom. And if we zoom out, this is the old map. Let's look for that new area. The new area that we added should be right in here. So I'll kind of position my camera to show you what's going to happen. I'll go File, Open Recent, and then just reload this file. Sure. And boop, there we go. There is our new section that we just did. Easy peasy, nice and quick. And yeah, it just slams down the 3D tiles where I place the 2D tiles. So we get this little map here, which it's not. I mean, these tiles are pretty placeholder, but it's enough to get people an idea of what's going on. And what I can do now is I can go to where? To Games and Quake, and I can copy. Oh, let's go to id maps, and then I can copy in the updated map file. Then I can QBSP it, and then I can go Quake plus map out, and that will launch Quake in the new map. There we go. So yeah, there's this little passageway this way, and our little grunts are behind this wall. Cool. So yeah, so that's the idea. And I think this is currently only 5 tiles, maybe 6 tiles. I forget how many. Maybe more than that. So yeah, so I'm using this tile, this tile, this tile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tiles. 5 tiles thereabouts. Uh, Miblik says, have I done regular map making for Quake before? Um, I did some when I was very young, back in the late '90s, and I've done some recently, but I've never put out a map. Um, yeah, I've always found it pretty intimidating, and I started this tool for a couple of reasons. One, I wrote a Python API for the Quake file formats just to better understand the Quake file formats. And now that I have this nice API, I'm finding ways to use it. And this, one of the uses is this tool that bridges the 2D tilemaps and Quake. So yesterday, I had left trying to get these tile transformations working. Because if you notice, like this, these corners here, let's go here and then select this. This corner is just this one here. But you can rotate it, right? And you can rotate it arbitrarily, and you can also flip it horizontally and vertically. So I got the 3D math straightened out for that. It turns out, I'll show you the bits here. I just basically, I use this method, NumPy identity, which I think it returns back an ind array, which is different than a matrix than I was using. So yeah, so I have my horizontal flip matrix, which is basically an identity matrix with the 0, 0 is -1, so it just mirrors it across the x, and then the vertical just mirrors across the y. So I guess the side effect of this is when you define your level pieces. So let's look at a level piece here real quick. T6, sure. What's that one? So this is tile 6. So the way I'm doing the flipping is it assumes that your tile is centered at 0, 0, at least on the x and y plane. So you have to make sure your tile is centered like that. Otherwise, when I do the flips, your tile will move around quite a bit. So as long as it's centered here in the x and y plane, the flip will work. So yeah, so I have a horizontal, a vertical flip, and then I have a diagonal flip. And basically, all the diagonal flip does is it flops the x and y chords, and that's all it does. And this is the matrix to do that. And in fact, I probably could do something a little easier. I could do, instead of saying zeros, I could say it is the identity matrix. No, it doesn't matter. Because I'd still have to zero out. Yeah, I'd still have to be doing the same number of accessors, accesses, so it doesn't matter. So yeah, so it looks like, so let me see, the identity matrix looks like this. And then the diagonal flip matrix is just this 0 and 1. So that is, it just flips the XY chords. That's all it does. So again, because of the way I'm doing these transformations, you have to have your tile centered at 0, 0. And these are some helper things I'm working on, but I'm not actually using them. And then yeah, down here in the, when I'm running through the tiles, for each tile, I calculate the offset for the, so it's just a series of matrix multiplications. So I have identity matrix, and then I set up the translation as offset, offset x, offset y, and then I just check to see if the tile requires either of the flips. And there's a trick kind of in the ordering of this, but that was just mostly through experimentation that got this working correctly. So yeah, so then another side effect too is when you start doing these, pardon me, these flip operations or these flip transforms, what happens is you affect the winding order of the face, and what happens then is the brush will become inside out, and the Quake tools will see it as a degenerate brush and will not, it won't allow you, it'll think it's a bad brush, and it will get rid of it or ignore it. So what you have to do is you have to track which of these operations potentially require the flipping of the faces of the brush. So I just use a Boolean, and every time I do one of these, I just knot it with itself. So if you flip it twice, you don't need to flip the faces, etc. So at the very end, somewhere, yeah. So if we need to flip the faces, all you have to do Since the faces are just an ordered list of points, you can just reverse that list and you have changed the winding order on the face. Pretty easy stuff. So today I'm interested in trying to get this 3D tile definition pushed out into an external file. I kind of started working on that a little bit up here. The previous version of this was just a whole bunch of it looked more like this. It was like a with open of this as file, and then I'd say tile or tiles at 1 equals m dot loads of file dot read, and I just had this copy and pasted 8 times or how many ever are here. So what I'm working on now is having a way, if people want to define 3D tile maps, what they can do is they can do that in a file and not have to change the source code. Brum, I love the light theme. I use the white theme across the board. I can't stand the black theme or the dark. How are you, Brum? How was your project going? I haven't heard from you in a while. Let's do this and this. So this is kind of more what I'm. So eventually I want it to be JSON, so we could do this and then view, layout, columns 2. So it'd look more like if this is JSON. Tile sets, of which tile sets are a array. And we have a file name property, because is that right? Array of objects, I think. And this object has a file name property. So basically, I'm going to do just a for a given image, the tile set image. I will do the mapping based on that. This is not technically JSON. You'd have to, yeah, you'd have to. I think all I'd have to do really. Where's my multi-select? Control Shift L. Home. You'd have to string escape the properties here, which is fine. Like that. Yeah, that is a nice thing, is that the Python dictionary syntax is very similar to JSON. And then do a there we go. And they want double quotes for JSON properties. So yeah, it's definitely darn close to JSON. So this would allow me to, I'm just kind of looking at the structure of how I want this to work. So let's just kind of make this small, 1, 2. So this is so these are the tile set. This is a tile object, I guess, more or less. It has a file name. This is the thing we're targeting. It has a tiles. Maybe you should have a tile size. Maybe 64, something like that, because we need to know how big these tiles are. I don't want to hard code that, but they have to be square, because the way they rotate, it would be weird if you rotated uniformly square tiles. So maybe something like that, and then I could have a second one, and I don't know if I want to have a tile size per. I don't know if that makes sense. So maybe this is a whole like tile size. Maybe it should be defined up here. Maybe that makes more sense. This is tile set 2, and these are the indices. And I think these should probably be 0 based. Probably. Tile size per set sounds good. Maybe the problem is like the set could be different, but for this, like, you can have multiple tile sets in a single map, but they all have to be the same dimension, otherwise they won't work properly together. Um, yeah, unfortunately, that is one of the drawbacks of 2D tile maps is they have to be uniform in size, at least with TileEd. I think there are other tile map editors. I think Ogmo specifically allows you to have different have layers of different size. Can I do that here? Let's just try adding a new tile layer. New tile layer. Tile layer 2, and yeah, the width and height of the tiles is not a changeable property. Tile layer 1. Yeah. So unfortunately, I think I'm going to have to keep at least the tile size to these tile set definitions. Or I could push them in. That's fine. They could live here, but they just have to agree. Otherwise, you're going to get weird results if you don't. Is that right? Or do I need? Because I think I need to make a decision pretty early on. Yeah, let's just put it out into like this little tile set definition layer level. So up here. Something like that. So that's cool. That should work. I should be able to treat this as Python and say tile mapping is equal to that. If I flip this over to Python, I should be just fine. Yeah, hunky dory. Let's copy that. Let's just manually paste in the data here. Oh yeah, can I? Quickly note. How do I just code? Clean up white space. Reformat code. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now what I would need to do is, yeah, no, Mucker, TileEd does not support that. TileEd, you have to have the same size tile for every layer, which is kind of a bummer, but I understand why they do it because it gets a little odd if you can have arbitrarily sized tiles for different layers. Yeah. And again, I think other tile map editors do support it, but the one I'm starting with right now, TileEd, doesn't support it. Cool. So what I need to do is we'll load these mappings, and from the tile map we have an access to the tile sets, and the tile sets know which tiles they have, and those tiles know what their GID is, and the GID is what is important. So I guess what we'd want is like tiles by GID is some sort of like hashable thing, right? So we want to like it could be yeah, because the this is going to be a thing. So then we need to run through. So for key and tile mapping, tile set. Okay, so let me see. Tile size is equal to tile mapping dot. Yeah, it is not associative array. It is just a tile size. There we go. And something like for tile set in tile mapping at tile sets. And then that'll give us access to these dictionaries. Then we need to get the file name. So file name is equal to tile set at the file name property. And what else? Then I need to insert the, so I know, so for the, how to do, so now for tile in tile set tiles, because we only care about the ones that we have mappings provided for. I think this, so iterating over a dictionary this way, tile underscore ID, I think it returns the keys. Oh yeah, thanks Muck. Yeah. So I just I wanted to have a variant wall section. So I have so I made this is wall section, or this is tile number 6, which is this wall, and then I also wanted to have a tile number 10, which just adds this little pillar on it, and you can choose between the two. The nice thing about tile map editors is you can have like multiple definitions for a single tile, and it can kind of randomly choose for you, or you can write rules to do different stuff for you. So that's why I wanted to have 2 tiles that were kind of like swappable. But yeah, I thought the spikes were a fun little touch. I thought, you know, this is Quake and all, so spike it up. Okay, so then for tile ID and tile set, so this is tile ID. So I want to grab so I also need to figure out the grab the tile set def from the tile map. I'm not redefining all this junk, am I? Okay. So this tile map up here, it has all the stuff we want. So let me real quick just put a breakpoint here, and that way I can just kind of look at the properties and kind of better reckon about what I'm going to be doing. What's it complaining about? Tiles. Did I goof up my indentation? Come on, Joshua. Come on. Wait, what? Oh. I did give up my indentation. Okay. I'm surprised. Yeah, usually Python doesn't care about that stuff until it actually actually tries to execute it. But I guess there are certain, yeah, this is like a syntactic error versus semantic error. Okay. Cool. Where's my, there we go. Debug. Now look at this tile map, and it has a bunch of properties on it. The tile map, and it has tile sets, and then the tile sets are just a list of tile set objects that have an image, a source. So that's one of the things I want, because that's what I'm matching on. Hopefully that's unique enough. Hopefully that's an okay thing to do. Okay, so grab the tile set def. So so this is blah, or T for T in tile map, tile sets, tile map tile sets. If T dot image dot source, and then I want to split that. What's the Python? There's a Python, like Python base name. Is that what I want? Or base name or file name? Base name. Yes, I think that's what I want. So to import OS. and then wherever I was, if os.path.basename of this is equal to file name. So this is a match. This is matches or t's. If not t's, continue. Otherwise, this should, for an empty sequence, that shouldn't be fine. So t. That should be fine, I think. So grab the tile sets if the paste name is that. Then we have this is a tile set definition. There we go. Cool. There we go. That should work. Let me just really quickly just step into it and see if it does work. I'm not like in crazy town. F9. Okay, so step. Yep, tileset.ping. I'm not talking to you. Sorry, phone. Cool. Hey. Hey, dump truck, or I think David, maybe. I'm not quite sure. Yeah. I'm curious to see how people use this, if they even use it at all. Is the the reality of the thing, because it does take away some control from the mapper. So tileset definition. Cool. So it did find. Yeah, there is the one. Cool. Yeah. Okay. So we have our definition. We pop that off, so we have just the tileset object. Now we have our tileset definition. Yeah, that does what I think it does. Okay, so we have our definition, and then with this we can do stuff. So for tile ID and tiles, we can look at this tileset definition, and it has tiles. No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't. What does it have? What does it? So it knows how many tiles are part of it. And it knows what the first GID is, which is important. Okay. A tile count equals tile set definition dot, what was that property? Tile count. And first GID is equal to tile set definition dot first GID. Okay. Cool. So now what we can do is we can use this as an offset. So for every index here, so this is, the tiles here are relative to the tile set itself. So that makes it pretty easy to map to a GID. So then GID is equal to int of tile ID plus first GID, and then was it tiles at GID is equal to m.loads. Oh wait, need to open up a file. Sorry. With open of okay, what's the tile file name is equal to tile set at tiles at tile ID. Okay. Hey, Tajani. Welcome back. Yeah, it has been a little while. Hopefully all is well. Okay, so this is the file name. And then I can say with open of tile file name as file. m.loads file. I think that's right. And this needs to get moved up here. Maybe. I think those are still, I think this is still tiles by GID. I don't know if I need this one then. We'll see. So that loads of file.read would be more appropriate. Okay, so let's step through this and make sure that I'm not, again, a sanity check. So, yep, so we're grabbing tile set definition because we're, so this is looking for all the differently defined tile sets. Okay. And let's say we have our definition, we have our count, we have the first GID, and then for this tile set tiles, so the first tile ID is 1. We should be able to cast that to, wait, what? Is that right? Yeah, 1 and 0. Okay, whatever. I guess the order doesn't matter. It's not, yeah, ordering isn't important. Okay, so the GID is 2. And then yeah, there should be, yeah, it should load t2.map. Yep. Cool. So then it should have thrown, yes, cool. Perfect. All right, so I think I can get rid of this. Okay. And I don't need the tiles by GID. There we go. And I can get rid of this old tile mapping definition. Let's make a new file. Let's call it mapping.json. Not right now. Then I can, where is it? Copy that, and then I can just paste it into our mapping.json. And there we go. That should be valid JSON. I think up here I need to import JSON. Cool. And instead of hard coding this, I can just say now tile mapping is equal to with open of mapping.json as file equals JSON loads of file.read. Okay, that should do it. Let's see. Go. Step, and I think that's correct. Yeah, and then F9. Yeah, it seems to have ran. Let me get rid of this. There we go. Okay, and eventually I want to replace the hard coding of these file names, but that's again a future Joshua problem. So if I open up my out.map, it should look exactly the same. So maybe let's make some changes in real quick. Let's again, let's just keep making our level bigger, right? That's a thing we can do. Let's go to tile ed, and let's let's grab this tile maybe and just paint in some new spaces down here. And let's just kind of, I guess, pretty them up. Like this, like that, like that. Actually, let's do that one there. Let's do this one here. And the walls. That. This. Corners. Again, these could be made into rules eventually where you don't have to fiddle with all these little like edge cases and stuff. But right now, it's not the worst thing in the world for me to do. And of course, let's add in some sweet spikes all over the place. There we go. And I can go to my object layer and maybe put some more grunts in here. So Control D, just kind of move. Just add some folks to shoot down here. Cool. Save, and then over here in my script, I can hit run. Yep, that's already processed. So now I can go back here and say File, Open, Reset, Out. Sure. Oh, I broke the world. Oh my goodness, what happened there? That is really interesting. I think I may have broken. Oh, Joshua. Okay, I know exactly what I did. If you look at our mappings.json, I've only described the first two tiles, which isn't super useful. Let's just go ahead and redo that mapping. Control C. No. Okay, so Control C. Don't need the trailing semicolon. Okay, so this is a 2, 3, 4. Yep, it was just doing exactly what I told it to do. So, yeah. 5. This is 6 and 7, and this should be 5 and 6, and then it should be 9 and map 10. Go. And let's open this up. That looks better. Cool, yeah. Maybe hey Dakota, so maybe I should do something where it does it should probably warn you if it finds tiles being used that there are no bindings for. So that is something I can do to help make my life a little bit easier. But yeah, that's isn't so bad. Okay, so in here, what we're doing somewhere down here. I think it's here. Let me add a breakpoint there, and then let me just cut these back out. Then if I debug this, we should hit this quite a bit. Yes. So I just need to warn here saying, hey, there's no binding for this tile. Cool. So print blah blah, and I think how to I always forget how to Python print to Python print to here. There we go. So I think I'd do something like file equals sys.std error. There we go. Maybe I shouldn't do this for warnings, but let's see. Warning. Failed to find tile for GID blah dot format. Tile.gid. Actually, I think Python has log. Python log. Maybe. Yeah. Let's just try this. We'll get. Well, the problem is we'll get a bajillion of these, but it should work. So go. Yeah. Yeah. Tile mapping for GID, and then all right, I'm just quickly Googling how to do the logging only once. Oh, there's a way to do it. I just want a super basic Python logger. I don't do this, like basically you set it up once, then you forget about it. I just tried that. So I think it is just as simple as I think it. Import logging. And then logging.warn. And then this. Warning. Okay, deprecated. That's good to know. Paste. X. Go. And now. Oh. Let's try this again. Okay, warning root. So I don't need to add the. It already adds the warning bit to it. And then do once. How to. That's all right. I mean, it's fine. Yeah, Quick one is still a pretty decent game. It holds up well. You should play it, Dakota. Okay, so I know we do it. Let's look at GitHub. My Python Twitch observer. We do it. We do a warn just once. So I'm just gonna look into my my repos, and here we go. Twitch observer. Warnings. Oh, maybe that's better. Import warnings. And then down here, it's warnings.warn. Go. Okay, cool. And this only does it. This does it, yeah, just once per. So it's a little bit easier to parse. Yeah, and then it just lists out the GIDs that are missing. Cool. Yeah, so this is good to know. Cool. Yeah, so Dakota, what Dump Truck is suggesting is to use the Quake Spasm Quake engine to run Quake. That's what I use on my stream. It's I guess a very modern Quake engine. It has a lot of nice bells and whistles and quality of life stuff. It's not so hard to do. Cool. So we have that. We can ignore these. And then this should go back to being the messed up file open recent out. Go. Cool. And then that's expected. And then when I go back to my mapping.json and I add my mappings back and I hit go, it looks like I'm still missing GID 0. I'm using GID 0 somewhere. But if we look at out.map, we reload that. Looks a lot nicer. I'm not sure what that's all about. Did I just leave something down there? I didn't realize, are these... I didn't think I had a chunk of stuff down there. Weird. Yeah, it's certainly thinking there are walls there. Let me erase that and rerun it and make sure that goes away. So it's underneath that. This here. So go to erase and scrub this. Go S and rerun the script and reload the map. Okay, it's still there. What's going on? What is up? Oh, I'm sorry, I had the map oriented incorrectly because I am, I'm a dummy. Okay, so it's up here. Somewhere I have the brush tool. If I grab that, yep, I do have. For some reason, my background color and my tile colors is the same. I didn't want it to be. I don't know what's going on there. Okay, save. Run the script. Open the map. There we go. Cool. So it is generating output that we expect. Yeah. So this is getting one step closer to me being brave enough to allow folks to start playing around with this. Yeah, I just feel silly because like I guess I expect myself to have a lot of all this stuff just kind of crammed into my brain and accessible, and that's maybe not realistic, but it's what I try to do. Okay, cool. There we go. I guess since the map isn't super unique, it's hard to keep the orientation in my brain. Like, I don't know. Whatever I'm trying to say. Cool. So that is working. So today, we've got the mappings file done. The mappings file. Oh, we're not using the tile size. Let's go ahead and use that real quick since we have it. So wherever I have 128 hard coded, I need to replace that with tile size. Control F. Tile size. Okay. So then I think in code I use the underscore. There we go. When I look for one, Control C. When I look for 128. Okay, so this is tile size and tile size and tile size, and this magic number is scale equals 4. And this also needs to be computed, not hard coded as well. So please don't let me forget that. Please, 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 please. Right now, this is just a magic number, and I need to put the math in to make it correct. Then I think I also have 64, and this is tile size over 2. which should not surprise anybody. Cool. And then down here, also let's do a Shift F6 and refactor this to 3D tile size. 3D tile size, not tile size. Underscore 3D. And tile size 2D is equal to tile map dot width. Does that work? Let's try that. I'm just guessing at properties here. Oh yeah, cool. And then scale is simply the difference between tile map, tile size 3D over tile size 2D. Cool. Go. And then so if I open this up, it should look, nothing should change. Out. Go. Perfect. And then if I go into my mappings JSON and I say, oh, these are actually 256 in size, run. Then if we reopen this in Quake or in Trench Broom, these all should be spaced out. Yeah. So it thinks every tile is twice of what it is, so they all have, they're all spaced out like this, which is fine. And yeah, these still are roughly placed where they ought to be, where they think they ought to be. That's cool. And conversely, you can do the opposite of that. So I could say, in fact, they are 64. Run, and then they all should be smushed together. File, open recent, map, go, and then yeah. So yeah, so make sure that your 3D tile map sizes are correct. Otherwise, you'll end up with and all these brushes overlap. I'm not doing anything smart in terms of like trying to calculate the size of these 3D tiles. I'm just assuming you know the heck what you're doing, so I just take you at your word. Hey, Shamblonaut, thank you for the host. I appreciate that. How the heck are you, sir? Cool. There we go. Yeah, so that is peachy. So now with this, you can specify the 3D tiles of any size, which is nice because right now I am building basically they're 128 size tile, which is okay for, I don't know, like building rooms out of individual parts, but you could make them really big and build individual rooms and slam those together. That's the Delver approach. And maybe I'll make an example of both, because you can go as fine or as coarse as you want. I'm also thinking of some future stuff, like maybe tomorrow I want to play around with entities. I did adapt my script a little bit. So here, this is still my prototypey script. Eventually it will get beautified. Where I think I called it prefab. Yeah, so the prefab, I do look at all the entities in here now. So by default, if you create, and you Quake folks, you can certainly correct me if I'm wrong. But even though this thing I think is like 10 brushes, something, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 brushes. Yeah, 6 brushes. It is technically one entity that is world spawn. This is the world spawn entity. If I wanted to add like a torch, where's the wall torch? Here we go. So if I wanted to slam the wall torch on this, all of a sudden now it becomes 2 entities. And I don't, right now I don't handle transforming the entities correctly, so they will all just be in a pile. But I would love to have support for this, and maybe a better use case would be the little zombie sleeping on the wall, whatever that is called. I don't remember off the top of my head. Yeah, Trench Brew might not have a handy little thing for it, but yeah. Yeah. I do want to support having entities already put into here. So if you wanted to have like a version of the wall that had some light fixture on it and you had a light already preset as a quality of life thing, that would be nice. But that is probably for tomorrow. So I think we're at a good point. We're getting darn close to letting other people play with this, and I've even stubbed out here. This is the entity stuff, but yeah, maybe let's shoot for this Friday. I'll try to get so in 2 days' time, I'll try to get builds out to people. I will freeze this and get you binary executables that hopefully should mostly work, and let people play around with this stuff, and then the real work begins. And yeah, this has been cool. Let me get rid of that. Yeah. So that's what these little helper, these angle between and vector from angle. I think I have a strategy for using that to help me correctly position and orient the entities. To spawn flag for so DS jump track is saying it's a spawn flag for the zombie. The weird constructor says, I always wondered how BSP trees actually work. Is the map partitioned into 2 dimensions, or convex areas also calculated in 3 dimensions? So it is binary space partition can work for any number of dimensions. Basically, correct me if I'm wrong, folks, but basically you take a multi-dimensional space and then you partition it using whatever is one dimension lower. So people always do 2D because that's easy to draw. So if I were to fire open Photoshop, again, this is super high level. I don't claim to be a BSP expert. I just have a very layman's understanding of it. Let's go to art illustration. Where's my A4 print? A4, great. Okay. So yeah. So basically, so one of the things you have to do for BSP is you have to limit the size of your world. So you have to say there is a max box that all this stuff is actually contained with inside of. Otherwise, we can't really get much work done. And then what you do is and this could be any number of dimensions. And what you do is you choose a random point and you create a line. So this is the normal. So you could just describe this as if I would something like this, and we partition the whole world. Image. Cool. So we now we have this partition, and we add a little point that says this is the front of the partition, and this is the back. So front and back. And then what you can do is the math is super easy for any given point. It's just a very straightforward math operation to determine what side of the plane this is on. And then what you do is you just recursively take each half space that you create, and you just partition that, and so on and so forth. And they end up looking kind of crazy, and that is so you can quickly you're basically trying to figure out what you can see at any given point in time, and an efficient and quick way of doing it. And I believe that Quake uses the faces of the brush as the planes of intersection for the BSP. I believe. Um, yeah. My Python API does support BSP, the file format. Um, da, 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 da. But thankfully, the BSP file format contains not only the BSP tree, but it also contains out a list of polygons for easy rendering. Yeah, no, BSP is cool. Yeah, there are many. Yeah, but basically you're just trying to figure out what you can see very quickly. All right, I think I am over time. Let me go ahead and commit this. This is at a workable state. Get status up to repositories. This is part of my game tools repository, which I am like deluding myself into. Like I'm going to make a Python API for lots of old games. Maybe this is like a lifelong thing. I don't know. But Quake is one of the first ones. Let me just let me get rid of this autosave directory. I don't think I need that. Let's just do this. Cool. Git add dot git commit dash m more work on tmx to map. Git push. Git push. There we go. Oh yeah, so time to do my wrap up stuff. So I do have a Discord server. This is where folks can talk about my projects. The server has a channel for each project. There's also a channel for what you're working on because I am blessed by having very talented and hardworking viewers that are making cool stuff as well. So if you're making something cool, it could be anything. It could be a program. It could be a piece of art. It could be a map. Please share it, and also please do give constructive feedback to people there. We're all trying to improve and improve our like our art and our knowledge. So keep that in mind. I am Joshua. You can find me here on Twitch or on Twitter at Joshua Skelly. I do this daily. So every lunchtime at noon, I stream. Right now it's Quake, but it's kind of like a little bit of whatever. It's an hour-long project every day. What else? Oh yeah, I'm a Twitch affiliate. That's a thing. So if you want to follow me or subscribe to me, even better. I consider it like a tip jar. So if you find what I do interesting or entertaining, or you want to see more of it, please consider subscribing. I won't get rich, but it does mean the world to me. In fact, I have 9 world-changing subscribers. Drakenson, Smith, Dr. Kegel, Shamblinot, Fifth Elephant, CB Ops, The Stone Compass, Neil Slichter, and Bill the Dill. Thank you all so much for supporting me. You get the Pixel Steak little emote thing, so that's cool. You also get a special channel in the Discord server, which I need to use more of. But yeah, it just means a lot. I will see you back here tomorrow at noon. Folks, have a good rest of your day and take care.